Welcome to the Overthinkers podcast, where we make sense of the mental chaos. I'm Carmela.
And I'm Kevin. And before anybody gets a little confused, which understandably so, you may be wondering, why am I subscribed to this channel? I don't remember subscribing to this channel. That's because many a year ago, we used to be known as the Comfy Couch Podcast. And I think we only did, 4 videos under that name? Well, technically 5, but one was the Randomly Random, and then 4 episodes specifically for Comfy Couch. So it's been, I think, almost 4 years, or just over 4 years. I can't remember if it's been 4 years exactly.
Oh, I thought it's been 5 years. Well, let's see.
5?
2021. Yeah, 5 years, because the last time we did a video was 2021, and we're in 2026. So, 5 years.
Yeah, because it was May, I believe, of 2021. So it's getting close to 5 years. Yeah,
so, okay. Close enough,
Yeah, basically. So, just to give anybody who's coming back from, that podcast a little bit of an update as to why we're no longer that name. We wanted a fresh new look, fresh new name. We're also not sitting on the couch anymore, which we never really were to begin with.
Yeah, nor were we are we at the place that we were that podcast began at.
Oh, yeah, we are not. We are in our own place now in a completely different location. And we are also not in the same room. Unlike previously, we were recording in the same room. Now we're not. I'm in my own room. She's in her own room. So, yeah.
Yes.
So, is there anything else you would like to add in on that before I go on into today's main topics?
No. I don't have anything right now. I think you're good to begin with February 2023.
All right. So, for the previous listeners, you know that on the episodes that we've had, the 4 episodes I believe it was, we would talk a lot about our family situations and our issues with our family. And one of those people was a man by the name of Rob, who I would often refer to as my dad on previous episodes of the podcast. Well, that was because I thought he was my biological dad. That was until, what year did you say it was?
2023.
2023, when I would find out, after losing my birth certificate, that the man that I thought was my biological dad that I grew up with my entire childhood was not my biological dad. Come to find out, he was just basically like a stepdad. So that was fun to find out. I did end up finding my quote-unquote biological dad, and he turned out to be a royal prick. His name's Ron. Hi, Ron, if you ever find this, you're an asshole. And we did talk for, a couple of weeks only. It wasn't for long at all.
Yeah, it wasn't long at all.
And then Carmela and I actually ended up going over to his house for a weekend to stay the night with him and his fiance, I think.
Yeah, fiance, yeah.
So we spent the weekend there. That was okay. But then trouble started a brewing once her and I came back home. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that I got to find out during our almost 5-year hiatus was that I was growing up with a man who was not my dad, even though I was told he was.
That's crazy, because, I know we've talked many times, how I grew up without my biological dad, but, the difference is that I knew from a young age that Mike wasn't my biological dad. So, that's just crazy, and it's been definitely quite the adventure. I'm sure that's probably not the word you would use for it, but
no, adventure is we'll say adventure for now, but yeah, a word that I would use would be a lot less colorful, or a lot more colorful. Would that be the proper word? More colorful or less colorful?
I think it would be more colorful.
Yeah, more colorful. Yeah.
So, there was that, and then and then some other things that don't have as much of a backstory to them is the following month I lost my car, and then the month after that, April, we got evicted and went to separate housing.
Yep.
Yeah, Kevin stayed with somebody that he grew up viewing as a cousin, and I went to stay with my mother, which was a big freaking mistake. Then well, before I go on, do you have anything to add to the evicted and separate housing, Kevin? Or
Oh, I was just gonna mention about, for the listeners at home, to bear in mind that this is all within about a year or so of each other. Like, all these events are within about a year of each other, or
No, they're
within
not.
the same year.
They're within a couple of months.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Within the same year.
Yeah. So Ron was February 2023. Lose the car March 2023. Evicted April 2023. And then October 2023, you moved from your cousins to, I don't know, would you consider him a friend at the time?
Yeah, I would.
A friend's house. But that didn't. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that didn't last for very long. I do want to make one little comment though, really quick, because I think there needs to be a little bit of context. The reason why we got evicted when we were living at the apartment, I should say, is because of not being able to pay bills, because you got to bear in mind that this is around the time of COVID. So everybody was struggling.
Yeah, it was just slightly after we were coming off that. It was difficult to find work and pay bills, yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So then, you went to your friends in October, but then late November, you moved in with me to my mom's, with me and the kids. But then things went downhill, because then the next update I have here is June 6, 2024, when CPS said that my mom's house was unfit for the kids and we had to leave, or they were going to be coming to take the kids.
Yep. And this is where the story goes really south.
It is.
Basically, what ended up happening was, we felt, and still do, I'm pretty sure she still does anyways, that our daughter needed counseling, because she's gone through a lot of stuff that somebody at her age should not have to go through.
Correct.
So we felt that she could use a counselor. We got her set up with a counselor. We went to go meet her. It was the first counseling session, and we were explaining a lot of that stuff that Carmela had just explained, and how we were then living with our daughter's grandmother, so Carmela's mother.
Yeah, and how we wanted help.
How we wanted help to get out of the house, because the family dynamic was very toxic and her house was very hoarded.
Correct.
She's a massive hoarder.
A narcissist, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, so the counselor then called CPS. CPS came to the house. We personally talked to the CPS worker and even told the CPS worker, we want out, but we don't have anywhere to go. This was our only place to go that didn't involve being on the streets. And they told us that they would help us, and then their version of helping was just to tell us we had to leave or lose the kids.
Yeah, that was a really difficult day for obvious reasons. And just the fact, I have to mention the fact that my mother to this day has not apologized to me, to you, to the kids for the pain that she has caused. She has not freaking apologized. And that really ruffles my feathers, so to speak. But
And also keep in mind too, one last little tidbit I want to add in here, and then you can add on to what I'm about to say if you want to. Her mother would usually complain and bitch up a storm about other people's messes in her house and how nobody wanted to come to help to take care of their messes or just to help clean up the house. Well, first of all, most of the mess was her mess, but I digress with that comment. Carmela and I were offering to help her clean up the house. Not only were we offering to help her clean up the house, we started to help clean up the house. And it got to the point to where basically we'd start putting stuff aside, like, okay, we know, nobody's going to care about this. No one's going to care about this. We'll ask her mother about this. No one's going to care about this. And then we would tell her mother, like, hey, we have stuff for you to go through to make sure, it's okay to get rid of it. And then it would just sit there.
Yeah, she became a hoarder when my stepdad, Mike, had moved in. He was my stepdad. And then they ended up getting divorced for many reasons. But yeah, when I was really little, the house was clean. But since I was like 7 or 8, she's been a hoarder. And I am now 31. So that's a long time. It was a quite the journey growing up in a hoarder's house. Not fun. Would not recommend. 0 out of 10.
Yeah. Now, mind you, also, the reason why we had gone to her mother's in the first place was because we felt, and apparently we were wrong, and I'm going to explain why I find that to be hilarious in a moment. We felt at the time that would be the best place to go to stay because of A, it would be a roof above our heads. B, it'd be food in our stomachs and the kids' stomachs. C, we were going to be living with Carmela's family, her mom. Your stepdad was already out at the time, wasn't he? Well,
yeah,
when you first got there, he was still there, but he was gone before I came in.
Yeah, he ended up going to his sons.
Yeah. So it was Carmela, the kids, me, her mom, and her brother. And we thought that was fine because of the reasons that I just mentioned, and not to mention the fact of it being family. So obviously it's people that we know, the kids knew, the kids trusted. It's their grandmother and their uncle.
Although that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was a mistake too. But apparently that wasn't good enough.
No, apparently we were supposed to be homeless, apparently, because going on to the next point, June to November of 2024, we were homeless with the kids. Now, some people don't consider it being homeless because we technically had a roof above our heads. We went to DSS and had to tell them that we had no place to stay, and they put us in a motel, freaking crappy place to stay. I mean, yes, it was better than nothing, but at the same time, I don't know, because there was a lot of freaking issues. It's just crazy to me. But then November 2024, we moved into the current place that we're at. So we finally got housing after all those many months. Late December 2024, I find out my mom, because I mentioned that my mom and Mike, her husband, had gotten divorced. So this is late December 2024. I find out that my mom has a new boyfriend, which is my brother's friend from high school. And he's also a level 3 sex offender, pedophile. I found out that he was a pedophile in early January 2025 when I got into a huge freaking fight with my mom because I searched his name and it didn't take much for his record to show up. I'll pause there for a second. Do you have anything to add?
The only thing that I was going to add, I was just going to let you finish talking about it first, was in regards to the hotel situation. At the time when we first had found out that we were, needing to either leave the house or have the kids taken, we ended up having to stay at a hotel on our own dime for the first, 2 or 3 nights?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I recall correctly, shelters didn't have any space, so they had to find space for us. So if it wasn't for, paying for a hotel for us for those first 2 or 3 nights on our own dime, I don't even know where we would have ended up, because they said they didn't have any space at a shelter and had to find somewhere to put us.
Yeah, it was a really traumatic process to go through. For all of us, all four of us, you, me, and the kids.
Yeah.
Because at the time, Penelope was, what, 9? And Josiah was 2 or 3?
Yeah.
3?
Yep.
Yeah, try explaining that to the kids. How the heck do you explain to your kids why you're homeless?
Not to mention the fact that, like we had already previously mentioned too, keep in mind, we thought Penelope, our daughter, needed a counselor because she had gone through way too much shit that
Right.
somebody at her age should not have had to go through, and then she had to add being homeless on top of it all.
Yeah. That's why I get really irritated when people try excuse me, when people try to discredit us because we had a roof above our heads.
Yeah,
But
that was a common thing that we would get, is that, oh, you're not homeless, you got a roof above your heads. Okay? It's 2 adults and 2 children sleeping in a 1-room hotel. We were in a
Yeah.
hotel. It's not like we were in some freaking fancy mansion or anything like that. We were in a hotel. Keep in mind, this hotel was infested with black mold, had
Yep.
leaky ceilings. Like, every time it rained, it would leak through the ceilings to the point to where multiple people had to have their rooms moved multiple times. There was people doing drugs in other rooms to the point to where one of them ended up setting their bathroom on fire. There was sex parties.
there's cockroaches.
Yep, there was cockroaches. So the listeners at home, you tell me which one sounds worse. The house with the grandmother and the uncle, and just a bit of a hoarded house at the time. Well, a very hoarded house. Let's not sugarcoat it. But that compared to a hotel where there's sex parties, fires, drugs, cockroaches, mice, black mold, leaking rooms. You tell me which one sounds worse.
I know. I think it would be obvious, but I guess it's not to everybody. But yeah, you kind of summed up the hotel with those talking points.
Yeah, and I believe there was more issues with the hotel than what I just listed, because I do remember
probably.
Carmela and I actually had a huge list at one point of all the problems that we had at the hotel, which I still have saved in my phone, by the way.
I'm interested to review those sometime.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so getting back on track, February 2025, you and I broke up again, because during all of this, we were like in a relationship technically, which is how we obviously ended up living together at this point. And then I've got July, I had a miscarriage, and that was rough, obviously, unexpected. So the past couple years have really been rough.
And to be completely honest, and you could disagree or agree with me if you want, I think part of the reason why our relationship didn't work at that time is not just because of just like issues that I feel like both of us need to kind of, overcome that we have within ourselves. But I also feel like a lot of the stressors of, going through all the BS that we were going through at the time also was not helping our situation any.
Yeah, we've had a pretty shitty past couple of years. And this is like obviously just a piece of our life. This isn't obviously the bad days that might come and go in between here. and it's also not including anything that's going on in the world and how that's affecting us. This is just kind of a little piece of the pie, so to speak. But
A quick summary.
yes, a quick summary. That's a way to put it. We're at 20 minutes, so I know we're trying to keep these like bite-sized listening, so half an hour. But we're almost done. We're almost there. So if you've listened this far, thank you for listening. We appreciate you. So then there was October 2025. A kid at Penelope School started bullying her and being mean to her, and that was really rough on Penelope. Poor kid's been through so much. She's so young. December 2025, I started talking to my biological dad again. His name's Alan. So to differentiate, because Mike was my mom's husband and Alan's my biological dad. And then now we're caught up to January 2026, which is where my mom changes her number because she says I'm harassing her. What a lovely relationship I have with my mother. I'll pause again. Do you have anything to add from what I just mentioned?
Nope, I think you're basically
We're
covering it so far.
We're doing good. Okay. All right. So then February 2026, my dad helps me to obtain a vehicle. So I now have transportation. Thank you, Dad.
If you ever listen to this.
Yes, if you ever listen to this. So now I'm at February 17th, which is when the CPS case closes. So to put into context, just as a... Yes, woohoo. But just as a context, we were dealing with CPS from June 6, 2024 until February 17th, 2026.
Yeah.
Like, all of this because CPS said that we had to leave the house because of my mom's hoarded mess. And my mom got shit for consequence or punishment. We almost got the kids taken away, and my mom didn't get nothing.
And I'm actually going to add on to this in that regard.
Yes.
So, in between all of this, Carmela and I are trying our damnest. When we were at the hotel, we were keeping the hotel spotless. To the point to where when we met, because we ended up getting was it the same caseworker or did we end up getting a different caseworker? I can't remember.
We had like 4 or 5 CPS workers throughout this whole process, so I don't know.
Each one, when we were at the hotel, because I think we had 2 different ones for the hotel, I think. But they would always come to the hotel room and look at the room and be like, wow, this is not what I expected to see based on the report in the case. It's like, yeah, it's what we've been trying to tell people. It wasn't us, it was her mother. We tried our best to be clean. It's obviously a little difficult to keep, 100% spotless, especially when you have 2 kids, 2 younger kids at that. But we tried our damnest. And then when we got here, it was the same situation to where they'd come in and they'd be like, yeah, it's nice in here. Usually people leave these places a mess. They don't take care of it. There's this, there's that, naming off all these different problems people usually would have or make themselves. And they're just like, you guys don't have any of that stuff. And we're just like, yeah, that's what we've been trying to tell you. It's not us.
All right, exactly. I don't know how much clearer we could have been. I think we did get through because we ended up getting a ACD, I think it was called, or ADC. I think it was ACD. And basically it said that as long as we're good and we don't get any more calls or police reports or anything like that indicating that there's something wrong, we would be able to get the case closed with it not on our record. So that's a win for us. So fuck you, Mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and as you can tell, we won that one.
Don't ever fucking doubt me, bro. Don't doubt me.
So I think. Did you have any other?
The only other thing, is okay. I want to mention just real quick. I just have one last thing to mention, and then I'm good to wrap up. I am gonna be getting. Okay, so let me back up a second. My depression has gotten the best of me, so my teeth are not the greatest right now. The teeth that I do have, which are not many. So April 7th, I am going to be getting all of my teeth out so I can get dentures and I can eat again and smile with confidence. And so the reason I wanted to mention that is because I know that we're just starting again, but obviously there might be a week or two where there's not a video because of me healing. Because like I said, I'm getting the rest of my teeth out that I do have in my mouth. So that's just a little heads up tidbit of information going forward in case you're listening and are curious of what happened. That's all I gotta say about that though, Kevin. I'm all set on my thoughts.
All right. The last thing that I will mention, and then we can finish this up here, is if you are new, welcome. Hopefully you'll get something out of the videos and all the stuff that we will talk about. If you've been here before, I will say that there's probably going to be a chance that we might repeat some stuff that we said before in the previous videos, just to give you a heads up, because there's probably some stuff that we look at now that we probably looked at differently then that we look at differently now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, real quick, something I wanted to mention, that because you saying that we might repeat ourselves actually reminded me of something we forgot to mention. So anybody who has listened to What a Catastrophe, where Kevin talked about all of the cats we had, well, we don't have any of those cats anymore, and in fact, we know for sure that at least 2 of them died. That's also happened in between. We've had deaths, whether it's people we know deaths or animal deaths, having to give up animals for adoption because we can't maintain them and help them properly.
Yeah.
There's been a lot.
For anybody that is an old listener, we lost Testicle
Goulet.
aka Goulet, and we lost Tubby Wubby Bubby.
Yeah, rest in peace, kitties.
Yeah, it was bad. Her and I were not at the same house when that happened.
Yeah.
This was after she had moved to her mom's and I was living with my cousin, I think, at the time. And yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, I took the cats with me, and because Goulet was my cat and Tubby Wubby Bubby was Penelope's cat. It was her big strong man, she used to call him, which was cute. And after Goulet died, Tub did not do well losing her. He declined rapidly after that, very rapidly, almost overnight, and ended up having to be put to sleep, both of them, because they just got too sick. So that's also sad.
Tub and Ghoulie, wherever you may be, this episode is for you, kitties. Meow meow. Meow meow.
Meow meow. Okay.
We do, however, have 2 new kitties. Well, technically 3 new kitties, but one of them is an outdoor cat that basically just comes and goes like he pleases, like he's Mundo from League of Legends. And those are Rainbow and Pierre.
Yes. I love my Pierre. Rainbow is a pain in my butt.
We love Rainbow too. He's just a pain in our
He pees on the bathroom floor.
I was just saying he's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, he is. His litter box gets changed and cleaned regularly, so I don't know what his freaking issue is. We don't have 7 cats like we used to at one point. We have 2.5 cats.
2.5?
2.5. One cat comes and goes as he pleases. And Rainbow wishes he could be Pork Chop.
That's the other cat's name, by the way.
Yeah,
Pork
that's the other
Chop.
cat's name is Pork Chop.
Aside from that,
Okay.
though, I think I'm all set. So unless you got any other little quick tidbits, we can wrap this up.
No, it's 12 o'clock. I am hungry, so I am good to wrap this up. Last thing is please to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for listening.
Bye bye.
Bye.